Sifuna.
First of all, let me say, Chair, that as a new member of this committee, it is quite shocking that there have been whole sessions of previous committees of the Senate that have not had occasion to interact with the Cabinet Secretary responsible for foreign affairs. And I was just, consulting the Secretariat. I doubt that it is only 6 statements that could be outstanding, because in the 3 sessions that we've had in the Senate, I am sure there are more than that in terms of questions that have been directed to this particular committee. And I'm hoping, Prime CS, that now that I am here, I'm not saying that I'm more important than any other senator, but I take my committee work a bit more seriously. It would be nice that that history does not repeat itself, that we have opportunity to engage. And in fact, preliminarily, I just wanted you to paint a picture of how busy you are as a Prime Cabinet Secretary, Honorable CS. Luckily for you, you have a very good team. They had softened the ground for you, quote unquote, before you came, because we usually get very upset when members of Cabinet snub committee meetings for other business. We have held the position that parliamentary business actually should take priority, but we understand that the exigencies of work that might cause you not to be here. You're also lucky you have a classmate of mine in your team, which helps to calm matters. Nick Biketi is my classmate, Honorable Chair. So, because we are talking about how we're going to work, this working relationship that the Chair talked about, maybe, your physical presence before Parliament and before the committee is something else, but really responding to questions by the ministry should not be subjected to the same. We should have at least written responses to the questions that have been posed to the ministry, so that even if you are not available, then we can have something to engage on. But I just wanted to understand the sort of environment that you work. I'm famously opposition, so I don't know how government works. So maybe CS, because we were discussing with your team to find out if it is possible for them, and in conjunction with our committee here, to find ways where we can agree on the best days to meet and the highest chances of us being able to have a conversation such as the one today. I was being schooled that Tuesdays are for Cabinet. So that is the sort of information that I was hoping that we could exchange, so that in the future, if we agree that we're going to be meeting on Fridays, or I don't want to say Saturdays, but I mean, that is a sort of just preliminary engagement that I would want to get, so that I understand the sort of atmosphere that you are operating under. Then we can be able to know how we engage.
Thank you, Senator Sifuna. Senator Mgeni. Senator Lelegwe. I think, just for information, the statements that were handed over to this committee after formation of this particular committee, there are only 6. I think there is one that was supposed to be due 5th March 2024. This is on delayed issuance of passports by Senator George Mbogwa. Then delayed processing of passport applications in Kenya, that is by Mariam Sheikh. It was due also 5th March 2024. Senator Chute, repatriation of Kenya refugees from Ethiopia. I think this brought a very heated debate in the House. Then Senator Wahome Wamatinga, the waiver of visa requirement for persons traveling into Kenya. That was also 23rd May 2024. Senator Richard Onyonka, plight of missing Kenyan citizens in Saudi Arabia and other foreign countries. That was 3rd December 2024. Then the last one is Senator Edwin Sifuna, alleged kidnapping of Mrs. Florence Wanza Munyao, a Kenyan truck driver in the Democratic Republic of Congo. I think this is the one you asked, Senator. So those are the statements, and you can see some of them as far as March 2024. So if we have had a very good working relationship by now these statements should have been responded to. It's not that we want to bring down the ministry, but in the absence of maybe the busy schedule of the Prime Cabinet Secretary, PS, your team should be able to put these statements together for him and signs when he's available. It's really very important. So it doesn't go well if statement delay for almost 1 year and members are asking for it. So I think with that, Senator Sifuna, you want to say something?
One point most critically, Honorable Chair, is that some of those matters have actually been overtaken by events. I'm aware, for instance, that lady who was kidnapped was already released. So, you know, it makes it look like there's a problem somewhere. I mean, we should deal with issues when they are current.
Yeah. So we now turn to Cabinet Secretary, I think your side. And then we can open up for discussion for whoever wants to contribute. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, let me just state that having been a parliamentarian, I take parliamentary business very seriously. So I will not fall into a lapse where I disregard parliamentary business or inquiries. But let me say that where there have been lapses, we shall take care and take corrective measures. Some of the issues that have come up, I've responded in the form of answers to the Senate actually, in a couple of instances. Some of the issues that come up here I've responded to. The more recent one was the one of refugees in Marsabit, which was brought by Chute. On the issue of the passport applications and delays, what I would say is that we will have to do a little better in our own coordination, because the Ministry of Foreign Affairs does not issue passports. These are issued by the Ministry of Interior, the Immigration Department. But by virtue of me being the Prime Cabinet Secretary, I can obtain the information. But I can see in some of these instances where we could have landed into trouble, in the sense that maybe it was directed to Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and there could have been a delay in the communication between Foreign Affairs and Interior. But that is now for us to correct the internal communication mechanism within the executive, so that we do not have those kind of...
Sorry, I think we don't have a full statement by those members. And I'm sure, understanding this particular department very well, it could be issues of passport at the embassy level or the mission level sometimes. And I think, you know, the mission is wholly under your docket. So that could be another issue, maybe when there is a loss, when there is also new issuance, or maybe replacement. I don't know. I don't have...
I'll look at the statement so that we can get the details of it and then respond appropriately to that particular issue, including whether there was the issue of the waiver requirements, so that we went into the ETA. I will be able to respond. What I would request from the chair is that once I get full sight of the statements which you say you will share, we'll develop comprehensive responses and submit to the committee. Then the committee can call us for any matters arising thereof, and that way we will be able to deal with the issues, including aspects around treaty ratifications, aspects of capacity building, and we will also be able to share details of the sessional paper number 1 of 2025, and also give you details on programs of the scholarships that we have, the records that we have. I've been very open on this matter. I've always said that it is important that as Kenyans, we make public where scholarships have been offered, what fields, and I've even gone further to insist that we need to have a policy so that we can show to the Kenyan people that there is equity in and fairness in the awarding of these scholarships between the various supportive countries, the Ministry of Education, and of course the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I believe some of these are issues that are now even canvassed within the sessional paper on foreign policy, that we want to unlock matters around foreign policy and make them public and make more people aware of the partnerships and what those partnerships entail between us and various countries. So I want to reiterate, Madam Chair, that we will be open, will be available, and the few occasions where it may look like there was a snap, I want to put it on record that we cannot snap Parliament. Neither can we snap a committee of Parliament. So we will endeavor to improve on the communication. We will definitely want to share a lot of, because as much as you legislate for us, it would be important that we also seek your views on quite a number of issues that could have important bearing on our foreign policy and on our security issues as we go forward, because this is not a static position. These are always emerging issues. Sometimes, as we sit here, for instance, the impact of the tariffs wars have serious implications. And we need to exchange views on these kind of things. We have seen aid cut substantially in very critical areas like health, and these will have implications on the citizens of this country. So it will be important that we work very closely together. And let me put it that from today you will see a change in how we engage. And I will also talk to my team so that the areas of where we need information from another ministry, if it has been channeled through us, we should not assume that if a letter has been dropped to the other ministry to say this is about you to respond. We must have a deliberate follow-up to make sure that the question, the response is properly weaved. Because I cannot come to the Senate and pass the buck. It would be better if a colleague minister would be saying that we will refer this matter to the Prime Cabinet Secretary for a conclusive response, rather than me saying, as the Prime Cabinet Secretary, I'm referring it back to. So these are issues that we will sort out. So let me put it that indeed I am busy, Honorable Sifuna, Senator. I am busy, no doubt about it, but I'm not too busy to avoid Parliament. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Prime Cabinet Secretary. Members, any intervention? It's open now. We open the session now for any clarification, questions.
Open, yeah, it's now open. My issue is general. Just a concern we have received from a number of our citizens on the rising fee on visa applications, especially students traveling to various countries. The fees are a bit exorbitant. Prime Cabinet Secretary, I think students from Nyamira, Kisii, and I believe other parts traveling abroad are paying over 25,000 to travel to the US. I don't know whether the ministry can have a discussion with your counterpart from the foreign embassies, including the US, to make the fees resonate with our economy. You know, $185 may seem little money to the US government, but to us is a lot. If you drive through the American embassy, you will see the long queue of students seeking opportunities to go and study out of the country. I don't know whether, I mean, as a government that should get concerned with the suffering of its people, whether there is a way you can intervene and make visa fee to be reasonable and fair to Kenyans. Number two, I have a case of a Kenyan investor in Burundi called Evans Motari Maragia, who was arrested in 2024 in Burundi, who has run a number of media campaigns to seek assistance from the government of Kenya. This is just an investor who went to Burundi. When he was leaving the country, he was told he's leaving. He has kind of interfered with the running of a university they were running in Burundi. And he has made several appeals and petitions for the government of Kenya to intervene and assist. Prime Cabinet Secretary, can you see through the embassy whether there is a way you can assist that Kenyan who moved to Burundi as an investor, but who has found himself in some trouble? Thank you.
Yeah, just to pick up where Senator Mogeni has left, Prime CS, in fact, I had reached out to the Department on Diaspora Affairs on that question of Maragia, that gentleman in Burundi, on the 14th of January. And up to date, we haven't received any feedback. But about 6 months ago, you appeared before the Senate, Prime CS, when we were having a conversation about the situation in our embassies in the US. If you remember, you gave certain undertakings on staffing, the levels of staffing in our embassy in Washington, the situation about the slow processing of identity cards for Kenyans who are living in the US, the inadequacy of staff in the two consulates in Los Angeles and in New York. So maybe you can start by giving an update on that. Secondly, Honorable PS, you know, we Kenyans get shocked every time there are pronouncements on serious foreign policy positions by your government. We are a product as Kenyans of a struggle for liberation and for nationhood that has fashioned many of us to be believers in the freedom of every people to determine themselves. So it surprises some of us when you take positions that are contrary to that, you know, long-held position that we should support anybody who's seeking to be free, so that your position on Taiwan, your position on Palestine is a bit surprising. What is the guiding star for us as a country when we got ourselves involved in taking sides in those long-standing conflicts for independence of certain countries? And then lastly, there's a question of deployment of non-career diplomats in foreign missions, Honorable CS. This is a matter of grave concern because of the nature of the engagements, and I'm sure you've seen the jokes doing around about your visit to Rome. I don't want to go into them. I'm sure you've seen them. Because of the nature of foreign engagement, people are asking whether the people that we second to these foreign missions to run our foreign affairs should be the caliber of retired politicians and the others, that our foreign missions are dumping grounds for non-professional diplomats, if I might use that. And what is the government position on this? Whether you have received those concerns from Kenyans and whether you're willing to do anything about it, or that you think the men and women that we are sending to these foreign missions are up to the task?
Senator Lelegwe.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to seek clarification from the Cabinet Secretary on failures by the Ministry to make the scholarships that are available in the Ministry public, and also the criteria they use in selecting these scholarship beneficiaries, and whether they publicize these beneficiaries. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Just one or two from me, Cabinet Secretary. Now, I really wanted to know whether you have a structure of movement of the scholarships from the mission to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and then to Ministry of Education, because that is where there is a bit of complaint that it's not actually reaching the right people. That is number one. Number two, there are so many opportunities that are there outside on international agreements, treaties and obligations. Some of them, they take too long actually for it to come from the missions and to the ministries. So it's good also to have a proper structure in place so that as soon as it lands, then somebody, or maybe there's a structure in place to take care of that. Now, the other point I wanted to raise is this labor outside, especially Middle East. We've been really crying about Kenyans being mistreated out there. We have tried to deal with the issues over the agents. I don't know what is the current status, so that we stop actually Kenyans losing their lives abroad, and again open more opportunities outside there. So what is the current status? Have you managed to actually ensure that the policies we have are very strict, procedures are followed, the right people are licensed to be able to recruit those who are looking for opportunities? Those are the few comments that I wanted to make. Finally, the issue of globalization and nationalism. Is it affecting our foreign policies abroad? I thank you, Chair. I'm sorry, Cabinet Secretary.
Thank you. One of the things we'll do with my team here, I think we'll do a very nice comprehensive report to help in responding to some of these questions. Now, first of all, let me deal with the first one. Kenya's position with respect to China is that we have adopted a one China policy. And that is the partnership that we've had with China ever since, and therefore we do not recognize Taiwan as an independent nation. We believe in a one China policy, and that's the principle that has been guiding us, not just now, but to the best of my knowledge, each successive government has maintained the one China policy, and it is in our strategic interest that we maintain the one China policy. The other thing that I would then touch on is I do agree that the issue of staffing and to what extent we support career diplomats has been a major issue for us. And we have now integrated it in the sessional paper to guide that we would prefer a situation where, to maintain proper professionalism, the ratio of the diplomats should be officers who have trained and grown in the system to the ratio of 70%, and about 30% can be external infusion, because again, there's always some merit in injecting a few experienced people into the diplomatic system. You cannot be continuously incestuous, but the ratio we propose, and it's in the social paper, is 70 internal and 30 external. So we have now put this and built it into our policy so that it's no longer ambiguous. It now becomes public knowledge that that is the position. And it is our desire that this will now guide future nominations or appointments to the diplomatic service. We have also been grappling with underfunding of our various diplomatic missions. This is a fact because we have been going through fairly difficult physical positions as a country. And under the circumstances, the resource flows or budgetary allocation to some of our missions has been inadequate to the extent that sometimes some of the officials are put in embarrassing situations. So we intend to correct that. And one of the things that we have proposed and the cabinet did approve and the government of Kenya did approve is that whereas the budgeting process was placing matters of foreign affairs and diplomacy in the normal administrative processes, it should have been squarely within the security sector, because constitutionally matters of foreign are actually in the National Security Council. So we have now corrected that so that future budgeting processes will be in the context that matters diplomacy and foreign affairs, this is the first line of defense, actually. In fact, that's why we are in the same committee of intelligence, security, and so forth. We want to be within that category, and this way, it gives an opportunity for higher ceilings within the budgetary framework, and it also reduces the possibility of arbitrarily budget cuts, which seriously impair foreign operations. Once you're out there, there's no way you can say that your neighbor will bail you out. Once you're out there, literally, it's you and your country. And therefore, we must make sure that the resource allocation to our missions is appropriate so that we don't put them in trouble. In fact, it can be a national security risk if you are to go deeper into it. Because if your diplomats are underfunded, there could be temptations. And in the process, very delicate information that could be of national security concern could be compromised. So these are areas that we have taken into account. And that speaks to the consular, our consulates as well, like in the US and other places. We have been stepping up our mobile consular services to try and help in accelerating the issuance of critical documentation for Kenyan citizens in different parts of the country. The US, Europe, and even the Middle East and other areas. This is an ongoing issue, subject to budgetary resources being available. We then plan for that through the Department of Diaspora. And we also work in collaboration with the Ministry of Labor. I want to assure the committee that We do not want to make foreign affairs a dumping ground. We would like to put our best foot forward in these countries as we are represented by Kenyans in various stations. And I just want to assure you that in Italy, the ambassador in Italy and the ambassador responsible for the Vatican, who is based in Paris, these are career diplomats. So the whole issue of somebody giving an impression that they are politicians is false information. They're career diplomats, and I was there physically, and I can tell you a lot of what is being bandied around is just people satisfying their own imagination. There was nothing like that. In fact, Madam Chair, I think there was a member of Parliament somewhere who was talking of candles having been lit and given to the leaders, and then the candles went off. It was in broad daylight. You don't need candles in broad daylight, and no candles were lit. No head of state had candles. And in fact, it would be a security threat if you are lighting fire where there are all those heads of state. So it is a figment of somebody's imagination for their own purpose. And all I can say is that the Pope's event, farewell, was an honorable, dignified process, very orderly. The Catholic Church programmers there had very clearly put order to how you come in. If it was a head of state, it was one head of state plus 4. That means they were not allowing anybody beyond that. And the people ushering in people were either at the level of cardinals or archbishops or bishops. So each delegation would be assigned one of those to usher you to where you sit. And so it was very orderly, and we want to respect the Catholic Church for a very presentable occasion. In fact, it would be unfortunate for Kenyans to try and belittle a process of this nature where the Pope was being given a dignified send-off. But the Honourable Senator has brought it to my attention, at least. I hope I've corrected this image that was doing the rounds from another quarter. I know it was not him. It was from another quarter.
Just on that issue, Prime Cabinet Secretary, the initial announcement was that Kenya was going to be represented by the head of parliament, the Honorable Speaker, Wetangula. Was that information correct, or how did it happen that in the end our head of state was also present there?
The head of state was on a state visit to China, and one of the challenges was to process and finish the engagements of the state visit on time to be able to be in the Vatican. So the precaution was that in the event that the logistics would become a problem, then there was a plan B. Okay, but the president made it out of his engagements there, and I think we are covered in the sense that he represented the country at the funeral service. The data around universities, as I said, will share information. I have been very outspoken. My officers are here, and they know very well that one of the things that I really spoke to was exactly what the members are raising today, that we need to bring transparency to the scholarships that Kenya obtains from friendly countries. It's only right that we know what has been availed, and we also make available the processes. Even if you look at it from a context of maybe being able to bond the students to work for Kenya for some time as a way of paying back, we need to have proper records. And we need to show that every part of Kenya gets an equal opportunity when it comes to scholarships. And I was telling them that it would be very sad if we woke up one day and you found that Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, as Minister for Foreign Affairs, has just dished out scholarships to his village in Mululu. It would be wrong to the entire nation. So this is something that I've been very passionate about, that we need to be more transparent. And as I said, we will be sharing this information. And transparency helps. So even as we go forward, these are issues that we can make clear with a template that can allow everybody to know who are the beneficiaries, even the names. This is something that should not be. It's not a military secret. This is something that should be within the public domain. I take the position of the treaty is also very important, that they should also be made public after Parliament has processed. We are in the process of going digital on this, so that one can access the portal and be able to know what treaties or what MOUs have been signed by Kenya and different countries. And then on the basis of that, if people want to engage within a framework of either investment or business, they can look at the kind of MOUs that exist between us and some of those nations. We have the Middle East issue and the question of the labor migration issues. This continues to be thorny, to be honest. Even as late as today in the other forum I was in, some of these issues still come to fore. That there's, in some instances, we have unscrupulous agents who mislead Kenyans, who even take away money from Kenyans and leave them high and dry in very difficult circumstances. Both the Ministry of Labor and the Department of Diaspora have been aggressively campaigning on this and also helping people to know the institutions that are credible. We are also working closely with the other law enforcement agencies, where sufficient evidence has been gathered on some of these unscrupulous fellows. There's no option but to have them prosecuted so that they can stop endangering the lives of Kenyans. And there are some areas that we need to continuously working together to caution Kenyans that there are some areas that are literally a no-go zone. Without naming countries, but there are regions where human trafficking is rampant. There are regions where people can land into a situation where they literally become slaves there. And in very extreme circumstances, some of them could lose their body parts. So it's a very serious issue. But I can tell you, the campaign has got to be wholesome at parliamentary level, at executive level, so that the awareness is brought to bear to the citizens, because Sometimes when you tell somebody that don't go there, they tell you that you are frustrating their opportunities. But in reality, maybe you're trying to save them, and it becomes a problem. So there's work to be done there. Let me note. Madam Chair, we have the issue of globalization. This is real.